Okay guys, today I am going to show you how I take some acrylic paint and I'm going to just add paint to the stencil. After I have finished stenciling my hat, I grabbed some pink, I grabbed some white, I grabbed a little bit of navy blue, I grabbed my markers, and I just came back to add some color to this feather that I stenciled using the hat stencils from Essential Stencil. So here I'm going to just shake up my paint a little bit, and you can see I'm just using right out of the lids of my paint. Instead of putting it on a paper plate, I'm not going to use a lot of paint here, so I just like to set my lids down beside my surface that I'm working on. I am using the detail brushes from Essential Stencil. They are very small, so I'm able to get into small spaces in here. I'm just testing out my Sharpie on that to see if I wanted to outline the feather, and I decided to not outline the feather yet. You can kind of treat this like a canvas. Once you get your design onto your hat, you can always take your detail brushes and some acrylic paint and just have fun with it. Go ahead and add your details. You can see I'm going in between the lines of the feather. I am just adding a little bit of that light pink to the feather. I'm skipping a few of the pieces and parts just to kind of separate out the other colors that I'm going to add into this. So here you see I'm just using my little detail brush, not a lot of paint, and I'm just kind of putting some little brush stroke marks right into this feather to go ahead and define out some of the detail. I hadn't really thought this through real well, so I just started painting it. I decided to come back in and add some white to just kind of make it look like a variegated feather or a tritone feather. And I hit it with my blow dryer a little bit. I've added white and navy blue. So I just used my detail brushes, added more of the detailing, and now I'm gonna go ahead and go right up through the middle of this. I want to define this feather a little bit. I wasn't quite sure about that pink color, so I added back a little bit brighter pink right over the light pink. I thought it matched the pink on my hat band a little bit more with that fabric. There's some pink flowers on it, you can see. So I decided I would make this a little bit brighter, and I really like how it's turning out. I think it's gonna look better on the hat, and it's going to be a little bit more vibrant, which is kind of the feel I was going for. So I'm just going to go back in and touch up a little bit of white. And I did define some of the dots on the feather with a little bit of metallic silver. So I didn't want them to really stand out. They're just kind of very lightly done. And then whenever I grabbed my Sharpie before, I thought that I could define the edges of this. I wanted to go ahead and make this feather look a little bit more finished. So I grabbed my black Sharpie and I traced over any of the stencil lines that I could still see. And then I just went around my feather and went ahead and gave it all of the trimming with my Sharpie. So I even went in between the lines, and you're gonna notice that it just makes it pop a little bit more. It kind of grounds the shape of it to the hat, and it makes it look a little bit more finished. So definitely made a big difference with using my Sharpie, and the Sharpie was very easy to use. A lot of times people will ask about sealing anything that's painted on a hat, and you can use a Scotchgard waterproofing spray if you would like to seal your hat. There I'm just going right into the details. How pretty is that? I actually love how that has turned out, and really it's just a little bit of paint, a little bit of marker, permanent marker, and a little bit of time. So you can do this and have fun with your stencils as well. They don't have to just remain a stenciled look. So I think this is a fun way to get a design on a hat. And a lot of times if you're working with hats, you kind of struggle with that. So these stencils make it so easy. I did go ahead and add down to the bottom of this hat. You see the other stenciled part right there. I'm going to go ahead and go over that with the Sharpie as well, just to make it match the feather a little bit more. And if I wanted to go over the words, I sure could, but I think I'm gonna leave them. They're a little bit more subtle, so I'm just gonna kind of leave those. But I love how this turned out. I think the feather looks really cute on there. I can certainly add more embellishments to this, but I hope this helps with your stencils whenever you get them, and that you can have just as much fun painting as I did.